Welcome, Dr. James Beckett, Sports Card Insights. Jerry West has passed away at the age of 86, which doesn't seem that old to me. It was a certainly noteworthy, amazing basketball Hall of Famer. Came in as a player, was a fabulous college player, a great pro, and member of the U.S. Gold medal winning Olympic team in 1960. So he came in as an important part of that team. And then also as a contributor more recently, where he's been just spectacular at shaping these franchises. So it was the start of the Lakers, but then he's also did the Clippers and the Kings, I guess. So he had a general manager, executive, president, advisor. He just understood basketball, and I think he understood it from playing at a high level, at every level he played, and really working on his game. I don't think he was instantly great. A lot of the young boys and maybe girls too, but a lot of the young people in West Virginia, where he was from, where I lived for a time with some overlap, there just were hoops in front of on the garage or at the playground. And so, and they were used. And so there was a lot of solitary shooting practice, which Jerry West mastered. I did not master. I practiced a lot, but if you practice bad form, you don't get better. You groove, a poor shooting motion. So I think Jerry West my recollection is he had a little bit of quirky, kind of a tiny bit of side spin on his shot, which I don't know that I can't blame it on him, but I just didn't have a clean stroke. And so my shooting percentage was not great. I was not a great shooter, but I hustled a lot and I worked at it a lot. And so that was appreciated on the teams I was on. But Jerry West was the go-to guy. He's who you wanted the ball in the hands of at the end of the game. And, when you look at shooting percentages, the guys like that are taking the tough shots, and still they have an excellent shooting percentages because it's not luck. It's hard work. So he was a great player during the season, but also noted as being one of the most clutch players in NBA history. He's fourth among retired players in career scoring average at a little over 27 points a game. And he's behind noteworthy Michael Jordan, Wilt Chamberlain, and Elgin Baylor. And all those guys were clutch as well. Michael Jordan is known to be clutch because of making the last shot in a lot of games and winning so many championships. But Wilt Chamberlain came through as well. He just didn't have as great a teammates. And same thing with Elgin Baylor. Those guys were dominant scorers and were always on good teams, but the Celtics were the team to beat throughout the 60s. And so Jerry West and Wilt Chamberlain both were coming up against, and Elgin Baylor too, were coming against the Celtics, and you couldn't win a championship. You get to the finals, which Jerry West did 9 times, but he only won once, and that was in 1972 against the Knicks. So, but I don't look at the number of championships as a problem for Jerry West. I look at what other Hall of Famers did he play with, and what other Hall of Famers in a group did he play against when he was in these finals games. So when you look at the Celtics rosters of those years in the 60s, they have more than 5 guys in the Hall of Fame. Everybody that played practically, there was a significant player is in the Hall of Fame. They had role players that are in the Hall of Fame. So they were, so I do not blame Jerry West. He did his part, taking and making the clutch shots. In fact, he was the MVP, even though he wasn't on the winning team one year. And that's pretty amazing as well. So, they talk about how he made 14 All-Star appearances and 12 All-NBA teams. To me, the All-NBA team is a much bigger deal than All-Star appearances. I think the All-Star appearance, especially in the current years now, the All-Star game is at best an exhibition, and the All-NBA teams are kind of voted on in a way that you are one of the very best, and so it's a more elite group. So 12 All-NBA teams spans just almost his whole career. As you know, he was the model, or the kind of the icon. The whole definition of an icon is this visual representation. He is the logo man. He's the guy that the NBA logo was modeled after. And so I think that's cool. And I hope they keep it. I mean, I hope they don't modernize it. One of the things that the logo shows, and I remember from when he was playing, is that he could turn the corner on guys to get open. He wasn't just standing around sitting in the corner waiting for his shot. He was a good ball handler to get around the guys. And to get around the guys, you had to turn the corner. You had to dribble around them usually. And you had to do that without palming. And when I played, you're bouncing the ball straight up and down pretty much. You weren't palming it. You weren't turning it over. You weren't, carrying it in a certain way. And so, but he learned all that. He honed all those skills in West Virginia and again, I moved to West Virginia in summer of '60 and it was basketball crazy. And so the big deal was making the basketball team and all that stuff. And, Big O, Oscar Robertson was just over in Cincinnati. And John Havlicek and Jerry Lucas were also Ohioans, close to, West Virginia that wound up going to Ohio State. So that was a kind of epicenter in those days. And so what cards are there out there? Well, the card that I am most proud of and that I have is not his 61-62 Fleer, which is a great card, but it's his Kahn's Wieners card from the year before. So that's in some sense a pre-rookie card. It does show him in the Laker uniform, but it's not. I wouldn't call it an XRC. I mean, nobody's going to say that's his rookie in the context of how we define rookie cards. But it is a first year card. It is a pre-rookie card. The other problem it has is not standard size, but I do have an alternative card wall. That's the outer card wall are these panels that you've seen on my podcast backdrop that are standard size cards, all in alphabetical order. But I do have another card wall as you turn the corner around there, if you're ever in here, that's a couple of panels of maybe 100 cards that are oversized. So they're in a slightly bigger slab. And so they have different kind of a holder positioned for putting those cards in there. And so Jerry West, Kahn's Wiener card is absolute keeper there. I'll probably have him in the regular wall as well. But the Kahn's Wieners cards, they don't have to be in great shape because they came in with the hot dogs. So in the baseball, Kahn's Wieners are very tough. The football are, I think, even tougher. And the basketball I would think is the toughest of all. Okay. Again, they were issued kind of in the sort of the tri-state area or the area of Ohio and Pittsburgh and West Virginia. So, the two other cards I don't have that I'd like to have. One is the 68-69 Topps test card. That's extremely tough and very, very rare. And then the 61-62 Bell brand, which I also do not have. I have a sample of that, but I don't have Jerry West. Short-sighted of me, because but I probably never saw it. If I would have seen it, I might have picked it up back, and certainly in the 70s I would have. In the 80s, I probably wouldn't have even I seen it, because by the time I was into the 80s, I was really mainly just buying type cards, and the type cards I already had a type card for some of those things. So, I know John Wooden, another one of my heroes, is in the Basketball Hall of Fame, the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame, as a player and a coach. But Jerry West is in 3 times. He's the only one, to do that. I think when I'm looking at, we've had this discussion about the Jordan XRC and some of that stuff. And, as long as a card is listed, it's going to find its value, because each card, based on how many are out there and when they come up for sale, it's regardless of what something says in a price guide or any kind of these comp type services, it's still, when one comes available, what do you want to pay? And if it doesn't come available very often, you may find 2 bidders that'll bid it up. And I always like to just see what the market will do. And so a 60-61 Kahn's, to me, ought to be worth a lot more than the 61-62 Fleer, in spite of the fact that it's the 61-62 Fleer, I believe is Jerry West's undisputed rookie card, his inaction card. When there's a regular card, the inaction card is same in the rookie year, but doesn't have a RC status to the same degree. Yeah, I don't know that it's too late to get Jerry West cards. I think the people that really thought he was great have thought he's great for a long time, and he had a new lease on life with his executive skills. But I imagine there'll be some spike. certainly with his autograph cards, because there'll be no more than that. But he was 86 and was a legend. So I guess my final point is I'm hoping that they keep the logo exactly what it is. It kind of shows him kind of with kind of with good body control, which I think he really had. All the basketball players I've known that played in college, they had some level of kinesthetic understanding or body control, so where when they're driving or they were going up for a shot, they were in control. And Jerry West certainly was. He had kind of a quick release and an accurate shooter. So, thanks, Jerry. Thanks, listeners. I'm not saying go out and buy a bunch of Jerry West cards, but you probably ought to have one card from Jerry West, and hopefully it's from when he was playing. Although there's some retro kind of cards that you get now too. So, thanks everybody. Sad day, but he kind of went out on top. I mean, he went out on his own terms with helping several. He turned around a couple of franchises in ways that were amazing. So again, thanks, Jerry. Thanks, fans. Thanks. Thank you, Jerry West, for the enjoyment of watching you and seeing the fruit of your labor. And thank you, listeners. Be back again tomorrow with another less melancholy episode.